Guys, it's Lisa back with another video for you for Lisa Wise Designs, and today we're going to get started making this really cute Christmas folio. Look at this little embellishment on the front. Isn't it cute? The little gold snowflake on this little charm. Okay, we'll do a quick run through of what we're going to make, and then we will take a look at what's in our kit and get started. So this folio is 6.5 by 7.5, and then 1/2 inch wide. Okay, I'm going to show you this up close. It's got a garment pin, a couple of pearls, and then a gold snowflake charm that's on a gold eyelet. So everything that you see here is in your kit. So when you open it up, you've got this little flap here. We're going to layer some stickers, and then of course it has a Velcro closure. And then when you open this up, you've got room for 6 photos on this side and 6 photos on this side. Then you've got room for 20 photos in all. If you see the place photo here, that is what I'm counting for the photos. And these tags cute. And then we're gonna make these flaps, and then we're gonna have this little insert. Okay, come on, come on, insert. There we go. So cute. Look at that Santa. Isn't that adorable? Right, where you can put a couple more photos. So you can see there are areas to put more photos than what I have done here. So you could easily put 5 or 6 more photos in this book. Then there's room for one back there. So the way I have designed it is you take your insert, you're gonna put it in this little pocket, close the flap, and see there's even room on the flaps for photos. And then the big tag is what holds that flap down so that that doesn't get in your way. And then I've got the mirror image over here. We've got this little tag, flap, and then insert. But look at this Santa Claus. Is that not the best vintage Santa Claus ever? And then places to put photos here, back in there. Close the flap, put the tag. Then you can flip through your 12 photos here. So anyway, there's 20 places to put photos. Love this. So you get everything from the ribbons and baker's twine to the little golden little tchotchkes here that goes on the front. Okay, so let's get started. I'm gonna put this out of my way. If you decided to order the kit, this is what you get. You get 3 pieces of 12 by 12 black 80-pound smooth cardstock. That's a lot to say. It's Paper Accents name brand. So there's those 3. This is what we're going to work on first, and we'll keep that out. Then you've got this beautiful paper from Simple Stories. This is their collection that just came out a few weeks ago. It's called Simple Vintage North Pole. And I will show you the stickers. That's always a good representation of the colors and the theme. Isn't that cute? I love tickets and I love tags. So this is going to be really cool. All right. So I'm going to put that over to my left. You're going to get a mini file folder template. So we'll get to that later on. Put that to the side. You get a cutting guide. This is 16 pages of full color instructions. It's going to walk you through everything that I'm going to do in class, but if you like to take it with you or like to have photos to refer to, I always do these really detailed cutting guides. And this one even has all the dimensions for the mats. So we got this. Now I just want to mention, if you want to use your own supplies, you can pick up just the cutting guide for a rock bottom price of $4.99 on my Etsy shop. So the link will be below this video in the details section. And then this kit is less than $25. It's the most inexpensive, affordable kit that I have ever done. You get a couple of really large tags. I'm going to pull my little thing out here, put my tags in. You get 1 red and 1 green, about 8 inches or so though of can't think of the word, seam binding. And then you get about 16 inches of the white and gold twine. It's really pretty. I'm gonna put that over here. Then you get this baggie that's got 2 pearls and a gold eyelet. It's got the garment pin, and then it's also got the Velcro dot. So there's that in there. So I'm gonna put those there so I don't lose any of that. So this is just a drawer insert that I always like to use. It's like a 9 by 10 size. As you can see, it's got some dividers there. So let's get started. Get your 3 pieces of cardstock, black. Like I said, I'm using 80 pound. I'm gonna get my trimmer. Okay, so on your cutting guide, you have everything here, the dimensions we're gonna cut. But if you wanna get all of it out of 3 sheets of cardstock, then you're gonna wanna cut it the way I do. I kind of fiddled around and played with it till I could get it exactly right. So the first thing we're going to do is we're gonna take all 3 of these sheets and we're gonna cut them at 4.5. Okay. Okay, so then I'm gonna make 2 piles. I'm gonna have my 4.5 and my 7.5 piles here, the other side. So I'm just gonna leave them at 12 inches. Just gonna cut it at 4.5. I'm gonna do that on all 3. This. And like so. If you want to follow along, I am at the top of page 2. So these 7.5 pieces I'm going to put to the side for now, and I'm just going to be working with these 3 4.5 by 12 pieces that we just cut off. Now we're going to take all 3 of these 4.5 by 12 pieces and we're going to cut them in half at 6. So put this in my trimmer. I'm going to go over to 6 and then cut them in half. All right. So now I'm going to have 6 pieces that are 4.5 by 6. Excuse me. And these are going to be my B pieces. So I'm just going to put a B on this top one. All right. And I'm going to put this to the side, my B pieces. So now I'm going to pick up these 7.5 by 12 that we cut. And we're going to cut 2 of those the same way. So I'm just going to take 2 of the 7.5 by 12 and cut these down now. So I'm going to put them in my trimmer on the 12-inch side, and I'm going to cut off 1 inch. So when I'm left, I'm going to have 7.5 by 11. Cut off 1 inch, and I'm going to keep these little strips. So I'm going to put that in my scraps. I'm going to do that again. Just going to cut off 1 inch. Keep this little strip and put it in my scraps because I know I'm going to use at least one of those. Okay, and so these now are my A pieces. I'm going to write an A on mine here. Put those to the side. So now I got my A's and my B's, and now what we've got left in black is we've got 1 piece of that 7.5 by 12. So to this last piece, we're going to cut 2 pieces out. Okay, so I'm going to put it in like this on this 12-inch side, and I'm going to cut off 1.5 inches. Yeah, 1.5. And I'm at the bottom of page 2. All right, I need 2 of those. Cut it 1.5. So these are 1.5 by 7.5 when I'm done. Just like this. So these are going to be my C pieces. All right, so I got 2 of those, 2 C pieces. Put those to the side. So now with what I have got left, I need to get 1 more cut. I need a 4.25 by 4.25. So 4.25. This is going to be scrap, but I'm going to use it and turn this 4.25, make a square. And I'm going to keep those scraps. So this is all I've got left for scraps, but I know I'm going to be using this one, and I know I'm definitely going to be using this one for sure to do some matting. So on this 4.25 by 4.25, this is my D piece. Put that to the side. Excuse me, get a drink of water. A tickle in my throat. So now we have gotten our black cut. So I'm going to be at the top of page 3, and now we're going to do some scoring. So we're going to start with our A pieces, the real big ones. On this 11-inch side, let me see if I can find my stylus. There we go. That's where you can see here. And we're going to score on the 11-inch side at 1/2 of an inch, right here. I did not do a good job. There we go. 1/2 of an inch. And then all the way over to 6 3/4, like that. Right. I'm going to do the same thing to the other A piece. 1/2 an inch, 6 3/4. Right. So on this first A piece, you see I got off just a hair right here. What I like to do is flip it over to the back and then get a bone folder and just gently rub it and see if I can kind of get that to kind of go back down the groove. And it won't be perfect, but it will be better and it will be salvageable. And no one's ever going to see it. I had this happen all the time. Like they say, it'll buff right out. So it's still there, but it's not near as noticeable. So if it ever happens to you, don't worry about it. Most of the time, no one will ever know. There's my 2 A pieces. All right, so we're going to move on to the B pieces. We're going to score these on the 4 1/2 inch side at 4 1/4. So 4 1/4. You could score these at 1/4 of an inch is what I could have done, but I have a lot easier time being right-handed, holding on the left and scoring on the right. So that's why I decided to do this. All right, so all 6 B pieces. Putting it in on the 4 1/2 inch side and scoring them at 4 1/4. I did not do that one very well. We'll try that one more time. Okay. Are you going to cooperate? All right. So those are my B pieces. So C pieces do not get any scoring. And the 1 D piece, we're going to put it in because it's a square, so on the 4 1/4 side. So we're going to do 1/2 of an inch and 1 inch. So 1/2 an inch and 1 inch, just like that. Okay, so there's the D piece. So now we are done scoring. So now we're going to put together our A pieces. So grab your 2 A pieces. We're going to apply tape. So I have a whole arsenal of tape here. So I like to use 3/8 of an inch. Anything under 1/2 of an inch though will do. And then I like to use an acrylic block to cut my tape. So it's just something that I picked up that you would normally put a stamp on here and stamp down. I've been using it. You can tell it's dirty to cut tape for a while now. Love that. So to one of the A pieces, flip this over the right way. So to this A piece, right down here is the score line. You can kind of see it if I turn it in the light here. I'm going to put tape closest to the cut edge as I possibly can. And just making sure I don't go over the score line. All right, there we go. And varnish this down. Someone's decided they're going to do some yard work across the street, so that's always fun. Gotta hear that. Okay, so if you're following along, I am in the middle of page 3. So we just put tape on one of our A pieces. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn them in this orientation where the second A piece has got the 1/2 inch score line facing this 1/2 inch score line here. So the two, let me say that the right way. These 2 A pieces, I'm using the ends that have the 1/2 inch score line closest to each other. Okay. Maybe I said it right that time. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to take the tape backing off and I'm going to place the one on the right hand side over the left, just like this. And I'm going to kind of kiss up those score lines. I'm going to kiss it, don't go over the score line. That way I'll have one long piece. So I'm going to get my pokey tool, what I like to use. You can also use, what's the small box cutters that you have? I have one of those that I also like to use. This one that I picked up at Hobby Lobby. If I can't find my pokey tool, I like to use this one to get my tape back in it. Okay, so I'm just going to take this one on the right, and I'm just going to try my best to line this up without getting my head in the way of the camera and kissing up to the score line without going over it. And it's never going to be perfect, but I'm just going to try. And then at some point, just got to commit to it. Burnish that down. So now I've got one long piece. So now we're going to flip over to page 4. All right, and now what we're going to do is we're going to work the score lines, and we're going to get this to create our spine. So I'm going to flip this over now. This is like the bumpy side on this side. And then I'm going to fold on my score lines ever so gently. Excuse me. See my cute new cup I've got? Isn't it adorable? Love it. Thank you, Megan, a lady in town. Our church made that for me. Love. All right, and so I'm going to flip this over. I'm going to fold this other score line. This. All right, and now I'm going to fold the ones that make up the spine here that we glued together, that we kissed together. Sometimes I think this cardstock is a little too good, but it is very sturdy. Here we go. There we go. All right, so now this is what you should have. You've got your flaps on the ends. And if you fold it again, then you have your booklet. So now you've got your spine. So it looks like a little open book like this with flaps coming out of the end. So if you look like this, it looks kind of like a, I don't know, a jet. Maybe some kind of funky heart. Anyway, so this is what you should have. So now we're kind of in the middle of page 4, and we're going to add piece D. So I'm going to put this up here and grab my piece D. I'm going to flip piece D over to the bumpy side and put tape between, from the right near the cut edge, not going over or getting close to that first score line. So just like that. And I do tell you when I flip things over, do it on the bumpy side or the dented side, because I like for mine to fold in a certain way. It's not the end of the world, but I like mine to fold toward the bump. So now I'm going to take this and I'm going to fold where you can't see the tape. So I folded the tape down, and then I'm going to fold on the next score line. Just like that. And so now you can see where we kind of formed a gusset like this. Okay? And that's exactly how we're going to put it on our book, with the little gusset, and this is coming up to the front because we're making this piece right here. So we're going to glue it to the back, and it's going to come around and give us a gusset to hold down and then come around to the front of our album. So grabbing the album, now's the time for you to choose which you want to be the front. So mine kind of looks the same either way, so I'm going to choose this to be the back. So I flipped it over. So here's my spine here. So this is going to be the back because here's the opening. Now I need my ruler and a pencil, and I'm going to cut them down 1 1/4 inches. So just to make my life a little easier, I'm going to open it up. And this is the back. I put this toward the top, and this is all in the written instructions at the bottom of page 4. And I'm just going to make a mark at 1 1/4 inch, just like that. Okay, you can see there. Yeah, you can see that pretty well. So 1 1/4 of an inch down from the top left hand of the back cover. If that makes sense, because here's the spine. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to take this piece D, and we are going to open this up again. We're going to take this down flush to that line, and then that first score line is going to be flush with the edge of the back cover, just like this. So you're going to overlap that back cover by that first 1/2 inch score line, or that first half of an inch of this piece D. All right. So let me see. I'm trying to line this up to that line and get my score line kind of right on the edge of the cover. Right. Burnish that to place. Do a little erasing here. All right. So now I'm going to flip this back over to the front, and so this, see, now will come around to the front. Now it's hard to see black. And once we get everything in there, then we'll have a 1/2 inch gusset. Just like that. Well, I cannot get the light to cooperate. There we go. We'll have this little 1/2 inch gusset on the side of our book. Just like that. Okay. Let's see, where are we now? So now we're going to do a little bit of matting before we put on our B or C pieces. I'm going to kind of open this up. So what you want to do is you want to find the piece of paper with the big Santa face. This is my favorite piece. Oh, it's so pretty. This is the whole reason I decided to use this paper pack. It is absolutely gorgeous, is it not? Really pretty. I'll move this out of the way for now. So you can see this in the middle of page 5 where we're going to be cutting this down. You're going to be hearing the dimensions 7 1/4 tall a lot during this book because this book's 7 1/2 tall. And so most of the matting is the full page, so it would be 7 1/4. So it's going to be 7 1/4 tall and 6 inch wide. So first thing I'm going to do is cut off the branding strip at the top here. Just go ahead and get rid of that. And then I know that I want this to be 6 inches over here. So I'm just going, do I want to cut it in half first or go ahead and cut it down? Yeah, no, yeah, no, yeah, no. All right. What we want to do is we're going to get 2 pieces. We're going to get a 6 inch on this side, a 6 inch on this side, but we need to cut down the top and the bottom to see as much of the Santa face as we want to. So I'm going to sacrifice a little bit of his cap so I can get as much of his face and beard as possible. And we're only going to have 7 1/4, so you kind of measure and see what about 7 1/4. Do I want to keep all of his hat or do I want to get rid of a little bit of that to have more beard? So I'm going to cut a little bit off. I think I'm going to cut about 1/4 inch off the top. Sacrifice a little bit of that. And then I'm going to turn my paper over here. Come on, paper. Open this. So I know from the top, yeah, from the top here, I'm going to come down 7 1/4. So now this is scrap. I'll put in my scrap pile. And then I'm going to cut this piece in half at 6. So 7 1/4 tall, and then 2 6 inch pieces, just like this. All right. So there is that. Put this up. Grab my book back, and so you always know which is the front of your album because of this flap is on the back. So I know this is the back piece. So this is going to come over like this. So I open this back up. Yeah, this is the back, and then it's a 1 1/4 from the top. It's got more room at the bottom. Okay. Now, I usually use Distress ink in black soot when I'm doing any type of project on black cardstock, but I thought that I would try this in vintage photo because I love how that brown looks on this vintagey paper. So feel free to do either one that you would like. I think I put black on the supply list, but feel free to use whichever one, and I'll show you the first one I did. It is in black. And I think that looks really cool. So you can see this one's done all the way around the edges in black. Let me see if we can see if there's a difference on this Santa paper. Let me open it up here. All these pieces with the black on the edges versus the brown. It's kind of hard to see. Like this. Anyway, just personal preference, right? Put you back in here, back in here. All right. And then this other blue piece, we're going to use it also on the opposite side. So it's going to go just like this. I'm going to line them back up. Cool, thanks. Okay, what we want to do is we want to glue these into place in the middle of these sections, and we want to make sure we don't go over the score line of the spine right here, either one on each side. So I should have about 1/8 of an inch all the way around. And that to the first score line, not including that spine one. But don't worry, we will get to where we will cover up the spine. So in the last couple of projects, I have been using this Fairly Art, Precision Craft glue, and I really have liked it. I like the bottle. I like all the different tips it comes with. It gives you, I think, a tiny bit more room to pick things up and move them around if you need it than the glue that I was using. But you see, I can't talk and glue at the same time. I'm gonna have to do that really quickly. And I think it's just as strong, really do. I've really, really been pleased with it. I think I like the bottle is what really drove me to it, using this type of bottle it comes in and the different tips it has. Well, I say that, and then I'm going to try and pull up my project here. But once it glues well. And then I just do the other side. Okay, just like so. Burnish these into place. Yeah, I didn't think I had enough glue on this side. I'm going to try that. And this is going to be covered up by that pocket anyway. Okay, now to our C pieces. Okay, this is what we're going to do to pieces C. These are going to be little tuck areas. So we're only going to need to put glue on 3 sides. So I'm going to start with this first C piece. And this is on the bottom of page 5. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put glue right on the edge of the 2 short sides, just like this, and on one of the long sides, just like this, right along the edge here. So the edge that has the glue, I'm going to put toward the spine. I'm going to do it on this side. And I'm going to do it just kissing up to that score line. Don't want to go over because we still need to fold it. And it's going to kiss up to that score line. And I'll show it to you just a second. Come on. Just like that. So I put the C over this blue and I kissed up to that score line, and then I'm going to give it a little bit of time to glue. So the part that's glued is the part that's close to the spine, because I want this to be open to be my tuck area to put those inserts and tags. Make sure I have enough glue. Everything looks good. I'm going to try to do the other side now. So it's going to go on top of this little Santa piece. So just doing 3 sides, the 2 short, 1 long. Put it on this right side or left side, don't know my right from my left. And kiss it up to that first score line in the spine area. So it does cover up some of this blue paper. There we go. So I thought that would be easier to go ahead and mat and then put this piece down. instead of trying to put the mat and slip it underneath. I've tried it both ways. If if I was making little flaps for this instead of just like a little tuck area, then it really wouldn't matter. But I took the quicker route. All right, so there we go. So I'm just gonna grab one of my tags just so you can see. So this is open. This is open, like here. We're good to go. We're ready to move on. So we are gonna move on over to page 6. And we're gonna cut some more mats. So just hang on to your B pieces. We're gonna do these toward the end of the matting process, just so they don't get in our way and flip-flap everywhere and we have to keep moving them. We'll just go ahead and do those toward the end of the matting. So I'm gonna put this out of the way, start doing some more matting. Say we're only 30 minutes in. Look how much we've got done. This is a really, really quick project, but I still think it is really adorable. Right? Okay, so let's see which pieces of paper we need. If you're following along, I'm at the top of page 6. I need this piece right here. We're going to use this piece and we're going to use the back of it. First things first, take off that braining strip. So, and once again, we need 7 1/4 tall. So you can take a look on this collage paper and see, do I like this top side better? Do I like the stuff that's on the bottom better? You can make a decision. It's gonna cut off about right here, I think, 7 1/4. So last time I did the top piece. This time I might do the bottom, just to do something different. Because it's a collage, so it's not gonna matter whichever way you choose. So I'm gonna cut off 7 1/4 tall. Like this, and so this now is gonna go on my scrap pile. All right, so that's really pretty, isn't it? Either way you cut it, this paper is really pretty. And let's see, we need 2 4-inch wide pieces. So 4. And 4. That. Isn't that pretty? That's so pretty. Just love that. Okay, so there's my 2 4-inch pieces. Now I'm going to take this paper, I'm going to flip it over. So now I'm going to use this red and white snowflake. We're going to cut 3 strips off of this. So if you're like me and you're a little cuckoo about things and you want your strips to line up with each other, and I'll show you what I mean. You see how this is like one continuous piece of paper across? You're going to want to make sure you're cutting off the same side of your paper for each one of these cuts. Don't do this, do this type thing. So we need a 1 1/4, a 3/8, and a 1 1/4. So I'm going to do all my cutting on this side. I've got enough where I can see to do 1 1/4 on this side. All right, there's one. And then I'm going to do 3/8 of an inch. And all this is in the middle of page 6. So a little less than 1/2 of an inch. So do 3/8, like that. And that one goes like this. And then another 1 1/4. Okay, so there's my 3 pieces. And you can see if you kind of put them back together, that's how they look. And then this is going to go in my scrap pile for now. And now we're going to start inking and putting. I just threw my scrap on the floor, picking that up. Get back to my vintage photo. And I've asked this question before. If you think it makes a big difference in your project to ink the edges. And I don't like my edges to look dirty per se, or even really vintage, even though this is a very vintage paper. I really like for it not to show those white edges. That's the whole reason I do it. I really just want to cover up that they were these white edges. So whatever ink color you go for, that's really what you're trying to do. Just kind of mask that. So I'm going to put that, because I dropped it, back in the right spot. You also have to tell me too if you like these more affordable options on kits. This is about as affordable as I can get them, but they don't have as many pieces in the kit, but they're still just as cute as can be, and you can do a whole little folio album with it, or if you like the more elaborate, you know, about $10 to $15 more worth of product in it. And I could go either way, and maybe that's kind of what we'll do. We might do some more on the high end, some on the low end. I've got some a project coming the 1st of next year I'm super duper excited about. Okay, so take this, open it back up. Now it's easy to tell which is the front and not. So I'm going to do my red snowflakes first. So they're gonna go just like this on that tuck area, and then the small one goes on your spine. So Latte's decided that she wants to talk. One day I'm gonna have to pick her up and put her in the video, and this other one on this other tuck area, just like that. So let's glue those down. We had quite the storms last night. I know this video won't come out for about 10 days, but last night, oh my goodness, we had quite the storms. Hurricane Delta came, Zeta, what am I saying? Came ashore, and we're in central Alabama, and we got hammered. So the power is out for most people. There's not a whole lot we can do today, so that's why I thought I would just use my battery power that I have on my extra phone and just start filming. So might as well use the sunlight. Here we go, just like that. So I said all that to say this, though. There's people working out in their yard picking up limbs and sweeping, things like that, and she's having it quite the come apart. So then these two pieces that we cut, excuse me, I'm not sure why that's happening. I'm going to close my flaps like this, put those right here. Yeah, just like that. This with the flaps closed is where I want these to go. See how easy this one is to mat? Most everything is 7 1/4 tall, and we just have to see what our width is. And this is a 4-inch right here, so you could easily put a 4x6 photo right there, or you can show off the pattern paper, whichever one you want to do. There's going to be areas for 20 photos, but there's still, just like this one, this is still 2 great areas to put a photo, either a full 4x6, and I'll show you, or one that's cut down. So here's what a 4x6 would look like, and here's what like a 3x5, if you were to crop one, would look like. Isn't that cute? You still could see a lot of that pattern paper here. Put that away. All right, so let's do some more matting. So I am going to be now at the top of page 7. And this is what I'm looking for. I really like these. I think that's really cute to use these 2x2s. So since we need 4-inch pieces, that means these are exactly what you need, 2 of these. So you could decide if you wanted these two, these two, these two. You need 2 pieces. So I'm going to start cutting off the branding strip. And then what I did is, we need it to be 7 1/4. So let's see what 7 1/4 looks like. See, 7 1/4 is going to stop in the middle of this that says Holly Jolly. And I'm just weird about, I don't like it to stop in the middle here, but have the full one here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off about 1/4 of an inch or so off the top so that it's not perfect. Then I'm going to turn it and go to 7 1/4 and trim it down. There we go. So now you kind of got, you know, some of each on the bottom, and that's just me. So this now can go on my scrap pile. So now you're going to cut it at 4 inches. which is going to be right on those lines between these 2x2 cards. And we need 2 of them. So now you've got 3 pieces. So now you can decide which 2 is your favorite. So I think that's kind of neat. You can take a look at these and say, all right, which one do I want to put here? So I'm going to take my project and bring this over here. So this is where they're going to go, on the open flaps. So that might help you decide too. Like maybe you don't want this Santa right here together. So maybe if you liked it, it would go here. And this one says, Hello Santa Claus. Maybe you like it here. Or maybe you like this typewriter and want to put it here. So you just have to decide whichever ones that you like. I think I'm going to use this one that has more green in it to help bring out some of this other green. Excuse me. I have to get a cough drop. So cute. Okay, I think that's what I'm going to choose on this one and put the other in my scraps. Alright, we've been rocking along for about 40 minutes or so. I think we're doing really well. And then we'll see kind of where we are in the process. How much more there is to do if we want to take a break here. And then come back, because I think what we've got left, yeah. Okay. Maybe we'll finish today the matting of the album and come back tomorrow and do some of those inserts and tags. That sounds like a plan. And I'll go get me a cough drop. So I've got to teach some classes the next couple of days. So I hope my throat holds out. Nothing like talking for 3 hours straight, right? If you start coughing. That won't be aggravating at all to students. Like, sorry while I'm coughing up and hacking up my brain. Or my lungs. Excuse me. Okay. There we go. Like this. I think this paper is so pretty. I'm glad that there is a balance of showing off this vintagey type paper and photos. Really cute so far, right? So this is matted for now until we do our inserts, until we put our flaps on. So this is matted. So let's do some matting of the back and the sides. Let's see where we are. We are in the middle of page 7. I'm gonna look for that collage paper. This is another piece that really sold me on this paper pack. I'm like, yeah, I got to do something with this. Love it. All right. Gotta clean up a little bit here. Using up all my space. Take off the branding strip. So now once again, I'm going to do a little bit of creative trimming. I can only get 7 1/4 once again. So I'm going to cut basically where this, where it says It's a Wonderful Life, where you can read that right below it. And if that comes up, then that's going to cut right at the top of his hat. So I'm going to cut this piece off. So let's see how much that is. If that's about 1 inch. Oh, a little bit more. Because I want to cut right at the top of his hat. So where does that leave me? 1 1/4 inches? Yeah. So right at 1 1/4 inches off the top piece. Right. So now flip this over. So now from the top of his hat down, I'm going to go to 7 1/4 inches. 7 1/4 inches. I'm not, well, I didn't quite cut enough off because I want it to say It's a Wonderful Life. I don't want to cut that off. So I'm going to cut it where I can still read It's a Wonderful Life. Oh, and I still cut. I'm just hacking this paper out. There we go. I cut it right at the bottom of It's a Wonderful Life. Then I'm going to flip this around and go back to 7 1/4 where it cuts a little. Oh, no, I didn't have to trim it. It's all good. I am at 7 1/4. I must not have cut it right the first time. So it's exactly 7 1/4. I don't know what just happened. I may have to rewind the video. Maybe I cut it at 7 1/2 and didn't realize it. But now I'm at 7 1/4. That's funny. All right, and then I'm going to go over 6 inches. It was like, did something magical just happen? Because I don't know. All right, so there's that 7 1/4 by 6, but you know, I kind of went around the world to get it. So I'm going to cut another piece for the back cover at those same dimensions, but I won't have to do all that fancy footwork. And I decided I really like the one of Santa and the sleigh. This, so. Now, these were a little difficult to use because of their dimensions, but I wound up using this one and this one, so I want to make sure I don't cut those up. But you can take a look at these and say if there's two that you really love. I use this one on a tag and I use this one on one of those inserts. So I'm going to make sure I trim those off. Okay, I'm going to put those in my scraps just so that I will not cut those up for now. Now, on this side of the piece of paper, what we want to cut is 7 1/4. 7 1/4 tall. What we got left. So now we just got this one little strip left. And 6 inches wide. Alright. So this is going to be our back piece. And this is going to go on my scrappies. Okay, what else? So here's that. So now I've got my front and my back, same dimensions. So let's go ahead and cut where it tells us the bottom of 7, and then we'll start gluing down this green and white striped paper. And I think it was on the back of one of these. Yeah, it is. So that big Santa face paper, it had this green stripes on it. So grab one of those scraps, whichever one you want to use, this one or this one. That's kind of hard to look at on the screen, isn't it? And we're going to trim these up. I'm going to use this long flat one. But I'm going to turn it over because look at, it's crazy looking on that screen. Okay, so what we want to do is we're going to cut some strips of this off. We need 3 strips. So we need 2 strips at 3/8 of an inch. So since I have 12 inches, I'm going to go over 3/8 of an inch. So a little bit less than a half. And cut 2 strips off at 3/8 of an inch. Okay, like that. And then we need 2 of them to be, how tall? 4 inches tall? 4 inches. So I get 2 of those out of one of the strips. So there's 2. Out of my scrappies. And then this other one we need to be 7 1/4. That's 7 1/4. Yeah. All right. So there's those 3 strips. So the 7 1/4 one will be the outside spine, and then these will be on the gusset that wraps around the book. Where's my ink here? Very cool. This project looks very different with whatever paper that you choose to use it on. And I'll show you an example at the end of this. Maybe not today, maybe at the very end, and show you how it can look so different but so cool with different pattern papers. So once we get this on today, I think the last thing to do is those 3x4 cut-aparts. So we'll take a stab at that tomorrow because we want to put some stickers on there and kind of gussy things up a little bit as we go. So this is a good stopping point. We'll have done, by the time we're done, it'll be a little less than an hour today. Alrighty. So now This is the front. So just gonna open this up like this. Now this is the back. So my front piece is gonna go here. My back is here. Now I lost my strips. Right, and so then this strip goes here, and then these little strips, one goes on this side of the gusset, and of course this one will go on the other side of the gusset. So let's go ahead and glue those into place. So don't forget, if you want to pick up the full color cutting guide, you can get that on my Etsy shop, and that link is below in the description. If you want to pick up the kit that has all this paper in it, the cardstock, and then you'll see all the different other little goodies in the packs that we'll use those probably in the next class. All that will come in it. And it's less than $25. I think it's like $23.99 what's on Etsy. Really good deal. And you can see that this is only going to take us maybe 2 class times together. Might have to run into 3, but I bet it only takes us a couple, because I knew this was going to take less than 3 hours. Here we go, like this. And I plan on making one of these, since they're so much fun and so easy and quick, to put my granddaughter's fall pictures in. I've got some really cute older fall paper, you know, the kind that used to have all like Echo Park, and it had like bears in it and little foxes and stuff. She was absolutely adorable. You know how they get you at these little portrait studios where they say, oh, you can pick out your best 8, but they took like 50? Really? Really? So then what do? You buy at least 30 of them, and they're really good pictures, and they made a lot more money off of you, and you've got some great photos, but you want to show them off, or you want to do something with them. So I definitely want to do that. I definitely want to make its own little booklet to put in the best, at least 20 pictures or so of the 30 that we purchased, and they are gorgeous. Okay, so that's what we've got done today. Next time we come back, we'll do our 3 by, is it 3 by 4? Yeah, the 3 by 4 cards. We'll do some stickers. We'll put our dots on, like our Velcro dot. We'll do our tags. We'll see if we get it done in the next hour or so. If not, we'll have a 3rd session. Thank you guys as always. Y'all have been so kind to me this year in this new venture. If you like this video, please hit the like button. If you decide to make one of these, please go over to my Facebook group, Lisa Wise Designs. That's also linked below. And put a picture in there. If you make one just like mine, or if you decide to make one out of your own supplies, we would love to see that for some inspiration. Thanks, guys. Bye.